if you aren't already aware, YouTube prioritizes watch time, meaning YouTube wants to keep people on the site for as long as possible. So there's a few ways that you can try to do this systematically. One is to create videos that are a certain length that people will watch a certain percentage of. So if you have certain video length times a certain average uh, view percentage watched, then that will lead to a certain amount of watch time. Another thing would be to have, if you can't produce videos that are that long, then you produce shorter videos more frequently. And so as those short videos get watched and you're producing more of them, that watch time accumulates that way. A third possibility would be to have shorter videos or even longer videos, however you want, but maybe you can't release them as often as you'd like. But then you can get more people to watch them. So even though it's a shorter video, there's more views on it. So video length times average percentage watch times views will lead to accumulated watch time. So one of those three things is probably what every person is going to want to do to have a successful channel. A lot of you guys watching and listening to this channel are fellow video game musicians. But whether you are a musician or you just enjoy listening to music, something you might realize is that out of all those scenarios that I've described, each of those scenarios is kind of stacked against us. Making a cover song is kind of difficult. So it's not like someone can just make a cover song longer. That takes time to arrange. And because it's difficult, it's not like people can just make more of them. I think that there are some people who kind of do it as a once a week thing, but even there's a lot of people are saying they used to be able to do it once a week and now they're moving to once every other week, that sort of thing. And a lot of people are more sporadic than that. But then there's that third thing where maybe we can't release that many videos and the videos can't be a certain length, but we can try to achieve a certain view count on each of those videos. The problem is that even with cover music, there has to be some kind of way to get people to watch. And that is actually surprisingly difficult. This is something that I have been trying to figure out my entire YouTube career, how to drive demand for cover songs. And I haven't been able to figure it out. It seems to me that even though a lot of us would like to think that there's a wide group of people who have this nostalgia for old video game music, that we can cover these great SNES era or earlier or even later pieces, and that the audiences will just come to them. But I just don't know if that actually bears out in a lot of ways. So one way of driving traffic to YouTube videos is by targeting YouTube search. But then you have to think about what are the terms that people are searching for. And I'm just not sure if people are searching for specific songs from older games. And if they are, I'm not sure if anyone's explicitly looking for a cover song instead of, say, like getting the original soundtrack version. So by covering older games or more obscure games, that's kind of a limitation on search. And even though there are nominally communities to discuss these games, there's the same issue of where there are just fewer people on any given fan site discussing an older game than a newer game. So, for example, Chrono Trigger, probably one of the best soundtracks of video game history. I mean, I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that. Its Reddit community is pretty small overall. So even if one wanted to get traffic from a dedicated Chrono Trigger loving fan base, I mean, it's just not really going to happen. There's not a lot of traffic there. But then that leads to the other thing where even if you find a perfect fan community, Fan communities are kind of smart in that they can tell when people are self-promoting and they don't like it. So for the most part, they ignore it or they will downvote it. And so there's this kind of tension where we put this effort into each cover. It's not just something that we can do, and it's not low quality. It's something that we've put time into. It's our craft, and yet we can't even get people to click because they don't want to click on any videos. You post a photo, you post a picture that you may or may not have done, you may or may not have attributed to the actual artist, and that will get upvotes and comments and whatnot. But as soon as it's a video, it's just not going to happen. So even targeting these Reddit communities doesn't seem to be a sure way of getting that traffic. So I've been trying to think, and I understand that my strategy isn't really, I guess, sound, so to speak. My last two covers have been from Fez, which apparently I should have realized is just completely unoptimal in terms of all the factors that I've just discussed. So it's an older game. There's not a lot of people currently discussing it. It's not really getting a whole lot of search traffic. It's probably not something that a whole lot of people have as, a critical part of their, I guess, gaming history. So it's not something that they're going to go back and say, hey, I want to listen to a song from here. But then I'm thinking about other ways of choosing songs, and those other ways haven't necessarily made a whole lot of sense. So, for example, I can say absolutely that my most popular covers are from Undertale. So that would lead to a hypothesis that you want to cover a game that is new and exciting and popular when it comes out. And that's kind of what I did. But then I tried doing similar things with other games like Final Fantasy 15. I have a couple of covers, and even though that did get a decent amount of traffic, it wasn't a whole lot of traffic. So it doesn't seem like just chasing after the most popular new game titles is necessarily the way to build up that traffic base. And then the thing that really gets me is that different channels can perform covers from the same game and get different levels of traffic and different levels of in terms of how many subscribers they get or things like that. And I know that part of it is quality. Like I'd like to think that maybe it's just the people who are getting the most traffic are the best quality and the people who aren't are not. But I've seen some not as good quality YouTube videos that have somehow, gotten up there. So I don't know if there's necessarily a one-to-one ratio of quality to views, quality to watch time, that sort of thing. And it seems as well that some of the difference can be explained by, well, some people already have established fan bases, and that makes sense. If you already have your subscribers and they're going to watch or listen to anything that you do, then that will help in the algorithm to, keep things going. There's a big talk these days about view velocity, which is the idea that the quicker and the more watch time a video can get in the first 24, 72 hours to a week, that will kind of determine how it performs over the rest of its life. No pressure, guys. But it seems to me that even if I compare between YouTubers of similar channel sizes, similar subscriber bases, that there is still a difference in the growth rates. And I can't quite figure out why that is. I don't want to name names because the people who I have in my comparison group, they're really great musicians and I wish them the best of success. But I know some people who they release very infrequently, maybe once a month or less. And they may have had they certainly have fewer videos than I do. They started out with fewer subscribers, and yet they are now ahead of me. And I just I wish them the best of success, but kind of makes you want to give up on it all. And I know that's not the right answer. The right answer is I should be focusing on myself. I should be focusing on just kind of working at it and kind of figuring out where the trends are and figuring out how I can combine my own personal tastes in a completely obscure music that no one has ever heard of with more conventional tastes of games and music that people have actually heard of to kind of come up with more things that people actually are searching for or actually are willing to listen to. But I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. And as I mentioned, um, I'm not gonna be producing videos like music videos any faster than I have been. So it seems to me that I have to expand my channel by producing content of a different type. I've experimented with this on this channel before, and I've actually found some very interesting data from it. So every once in a while, I'll do a longer video that's not necessarily a music video, but it's either something about YouTube, something about Reddit, something about the music creation process, something like that. And what I found is even though those videos don't get a lot of views, they still blow my music videos out of the water in terms of watch time because hey, if you have a 10-minute video and people are only watching, say, 30% of that, that's 3 minutes watch time. Whereas if you have a 2 or 3 minute song and people are watching 50% of that, that's 1 to 1.5 minutes. Like you can't beat that. And even if you would need to get a lot more views on the music videos to match the extra watch time on the longer videos. But what I'm thinking is of doing more videos about this process that I've been going through. So all the things that I've learned about YouTube analytics and how to use that to kind of assess your channel, all the things I've learned about watch time and trying to promote on other platforms because I'm a huge big fat nerd. In particular for musicians, I want to do a series. This is going to happen. I just need to write it out and get everything lined up with all of my collaborators. A series on copyright and YouTube. There's a lot of confusion regarding copyright and YouTube in the music space. A lot of confusion regarding content ID, a lot of confusion regarding what's fair use, what's transformative, that sort of thing. And I feel that for musicians specifically, this is something that we really need to know. So I want to team up with a lot of people. I know that Carlos at Insane in the Rain Music is very interested in doing something. Sebastian Wolf of Materia Collective is really interested in it. I'm pretty sure that Sounddrop even tweeted that they would do something with it. What I want to know primarily is, does any of that seem interesting? If you've actually paid attention throughout this entire video, thank you so much. And for any fellow musicians, let's just try to talk through what's working for you, what's not working for you, what are things that you've learned, what are things that you struggle with. Because I know that I'm not the only person that's in this boat. Because I know that I am actually pretty fortunate and I actually have a pretty good number of subscribers, and that there are musicians who are way better than me who do not yet have the traction that I have. And so there's definitely this discoverability problem that we all need to be working through together. So I just wanted to kind of put those thoughts out there, and I hope to hear from you soon.